So, have you ever looked at the news? All the headlines about conflicts, trade deals, big global summits, and sudden crises? And just wondered, how does any of this actually work? Well, if you have, you are in the right place. Today, we're going to crack open the toolbox that experts use to make sense of our messy, complicated world. It can feel totally overwhelming, right? I mean, is it all just a big, chaotic grab for power? Or is there some kind of hidden logic to it all? The good news is, for decades, some of the smartest people out there have been developing powerful ideas to answer that exact question. We call these ideas theories, and trust me, they are the key to seeing the world a little more clearly. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out what these theories actually are. Then, we'll jump into the classic showdown between power and progress. After that, we'll see how the very rules of the game can shape what countries do, how our own ideas can totally rewrite those rules. And finally, we'll look at some theories that are trying to shake up the whole system. Okay, first up, lenses on our world. This is the single most important idea for everything we're about to talk about. It really is all about your point of view. Think about it this way. A theory isn't a fact. It's more like a pair of glasses, a lens, and each lens brings certain things into sharp focus while blurring other things out. So a lens that focuses on, say, military power is going to show you one version of the world, but a lens that focuses on economic cooperation, it's going to show you a completely different world. And here's the thing, neither one is necessarily wrong. They're just highlighting different competing parts of the same big story. So let's put that idea into action. We're jumping into the classic debate, the heavyweight championship of the world, really, between realism and liberalism. This is the argument that started it all in international relations, a true clash of worldviews. This really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the realists. For them, the world is basically a gladiator arena. It's a tough, endless struggle for power where you can only count on yourself to survive. But then you have the liberals, and they see the world more like a community, one where cooperation is actually possible. They're the ones who believe that things like international organizations, trade, and democracy can pull us back from the brink and build a more peaceful world. Two lenses, two completely different worlds. And this quote right here, from one of the founding fathers of realism, Hans Morgenthau, just nails their core belief. He's arguing that this constant drive for power isn't just a choice countries make, it's hardwired into our very nature. For a realist, this is just a cold, hard, unchanging fact of life. But what if the problem isn't us? What if it's not our human nature at all? What if it's the game itself? Well, that question leads us straight to our next lens, Neo-Realism. They argue it's all about the rules of the system. Now, to get this, we have to understand one crucial term, anarchy. And in international relations, this does not mean chaos and riots in the streets. All it means is that there's no world government. There's no global 911 to call when a country gets into trouble. At the end of the day, every country is on its own. You see, for thinkers like Kenneth Waltz, this is the whole ballgame. Because of this state of anarchy, the system itself forces countries to act like realists. It doesn't matter if a nation is led by saints or by sinners. In a system with no one in charge, you have to be powerful just to make sure you survive. The structure of the game dictates how you have to play. But wait a minute, what if those so-called rules aren't actually fixed? What if they're just ideas, things we've all kind of agreed on? This brings us to a major plot twist in our story, and it's called Constructivism. This quote from Alexander Wend might sound simple, but it was absolutely revolutionary. It's a direct challenge to the realists. What he's saying is that anarchy doesn't have to mean a life or death power struggle. It all depends on the ideas and the relationships that countries build with one another. I mean, a world of friends is going to look very different from a world of enemies, right? Even if neither one is a world government. So let's make this real. Think about this question for a second. If you're just counting the weapons, pure numbers, those 500 British nuclear weapons should be way more terrifying to the United States than the 5 that North Korea might have. But that's not how anyone feels, is it? So why not? And here is the constructivist answer. It's not about the missiles, it's about the relationship. The US and the UK share a history, an alliance, a deep sense of trust and identity. And because of that, those weapons just aren't seen as a threat. So it's the social context, not just the raw power, that actually matters. Our beliefs literally shape the world we live in.
Okay, this leads us to our last set of lenses. Now, these theories, they're different. They don't just want to explain the world as it is, they want to critique it. They want to challenge the status quo, and ultimately, they want to change it. You see, these critical theories shine a spotlight on all the things the mainstream lenses tend to miss. So Marxism, for instance, looks past the competition between countries and asks a much more pointed question: who's getting rich from this global system? Feminist theories from pioneers like Cynthia Enloe ask a deceptively simple question: where are the women in all this? And post-structuralism goes even deeper. It looks at how the very words we use, words like threat or security, actually create the power imbalances they claim to just describe.
And that brings us right up to this moment, into a massive question that everyone is trying to figure out right now. After decades of the world working in a certain way, is that old rulebook being completely torn up? I mean, the world is changing so fast. We've got new powers on the rise. We have global challenges like climate change and pandemics that just don't fit into the old boxes. That liberal, Western-led system that has dominated for so long, well, it's under a whole lot of stress. It feels like our old ways of seeing the world just might not be good enough anymore.
So we'll leave you with this. Each of these lenses we've talked about, realism, liberalism, constructivism, all the critical theories, they are tools in your toolbox for understanding the world. So the real question for you is, which one do you think best explains the headlines you're seeing today? And maybe, just maybe, the more important question is, as the world keeps on changing, what new lens are we going to need to see the future?